There is a budgeting system that has been used in Japanese households for over 120 years. It requires no app, no subscription, no complicated spreadsheet. And people who use it consistently report saving between 25 and 35% of their monthly income. Meanwhile, the average American is currently carrying nearly $7,000 in credit card debt. More than 70% of people in the United States say they live paycheck to paycheck, and every single year, a new budgeting app launches with the same promise. This time, it will be different. It never is. Today, I want to show you why. And more importantly, I want to show you the system that has quietly been working for millions of people while the rest of the world chased notifications and dashboards. It's called Kakeibo. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why Western finance has been solving the wrong problem. What is Kakeibo and why does it exist? Kakeibo, pronounced Kakeibo, translates from Japanese as household financial ledger. But the translation doesn't do it justice. Because Kakeibo isn't just a ledger. It's a philosophy about what money actually is and how human beings actually make decisions about it. The system was created in 1904 by a woman named Hani Motoko, Japan's first female journalist. She didn't create it for bankers or financial planners. She created it for ordinary Japanese housewives who were managing household budgets with no formal system at all. She published it in one of Japan's first women's magazines. And it spread, not because it was marketed aggressively, not because it went viral on social media, but because it worked. And it kept working, decade after decade, generation after generation, until today, when an estimated 60 million Japanese households still use some version of this method. Stop and sit with that number for a second. 60 million households. 120 years. Not a trend, not a hack. A system that survived every technological revolution the 20th and 21st centuries threw at it. That should tell you something. The one thing, Western budgeting gets completely backwards. Here's where it gets interesting, and this is the part I want you to really pay attention to. Every modern budgeting app, every personal finance course, every standard money advice piece you've ever read is built on the same foundational logic. Earn money, pay your expenses, save whatever is left. Seems reasonable, right? Now, here's what Kakeibo does instead. Earn money, decide how much you want to save, spend only what remains. That's not a subtle variation. That is a complete reversal of the decision-making order. In the Western model, saving is an afterthought. It's what happens if things go well this month. It's the number at the bottom of the spreadsheet after everything else has been accounted for. And the problem is, expenses always expand to fill available space. So the number at the bottom is almost always smaller than you planned for, or zero, or negative. Kakeibo flips this entirely. Saving is the first decision, not the last. Before you spend a single optional dollar, you have already committed to a number you're protecting. Everything else, every want, every luxury, every impulse, is negotiated from what's left. This is the core insight, and it sounds simple, but think about how differently you would spend money this month if your savings goal was already locked in before the month started. The 4 questions that run the system. Now, here's how the method actually works in practice. Kakeibo is built around 4 questions. You answer them at the start of every single month, by hand, in a notebook. And that last part, the handwriting, is not optional. I'll explain why in a moment. Question 1. How much money do I have coming in this month? Not an estimate, the exact number, after tax and any fixed deductions. This is your starting point. Question 2. How much do I want to save? Notice the word. Not how much can I save. Not how much should I save. How much do I want to save? The distinction is everything. Can puts you in a mindset of limitation. Want puts you in a mindset of intention. Kakeibo is built on the idea that savings should be a desire, tied to a goal, a dream, something real, not a financial obligation you fulfill out of guilt. So when you answer this question, You also write why you want to save that amount. What is it for? A trip, a safety net, a future version of your life, something specific. Question 3. How much am I spending? This is where tracking comes in. You record every purchase, every single one, in 4 categories: needs, wants, culture, and unexpected. We'll walk through those in a minute. Question 4. How can I improve? Not what did I do wrong? Not why did I fail? How can I improve? The framing is forward-looking, reflective, not punishing. Stay with me here, because this 4th question is where most people dismiss the whole system as too simple. And that is exactly why most people never see results. The 4 spending categories and why they matter. Most budgeting systems give you 2 categories: needs and wants. Maybe 3 if you add savings. Kakeibo gives you 4, and the difference between the 3rd and 4th categories is where this system gets genuinely clever. Needs: rent, food, utilities, transport. The things your life literally requires. Wants: eating out, new clothes, entertainment, things that make life enjoyable but aren't essential. Culture: books, concerts, museum visits, courses, anything that feeds your mind or enriches your experience of the world. Unexpected: car repairs, medical bills, gifts, anything that wasn't in the plan. Now, why separate culture from wants? Because most budgeting systems collapse those 2 categories together. And when you do that, a book and a new pair of shoes you didn't need sit side by side in your ledger as identical failures. Kakeibo separates them because a person who is spending on culture is investing in themselves. That's different from spending on impulse. The system wants you to see that difference clearly, so that you can protect the spending that makes you a better person and reduce the spending that just feels good in the moment. And the unexpected category? That's not just accounting. That's psychological preparation. When you have a dedicated space for things I didn't plan for, you stop treating unexpected expenses as catastrophes that break your budget. They become a normal part of the month, accounted for and absorbed. Now, here's the part that surprises everyone. You have to do all of this by hand, not in an app, not in a spreadsheet, in a physical notebook with a pen. And before you roll your eyes, here's why this isn't nostalgia. When you tap to pay for something, the transaction is invisible. Your brain barely registers it. There is almost no friction between the impulse and the purchase. You swipe, you walk away, and the amount is already forgotten. When you write down a purchase by hand, something different happens. The act of writing forces you to be present with the number. Research on handwriting and cognitive processing consistently shows that writing by hand engages deeper processing than typing. You're not just recording information, you're actively encoding it. You remember it, you feel it. Kakeibo users consistently report the same experience. The act of writing down a purchase they're about to make, or one they just made, causes them to pause, to question, to reconsider. The notebook creates friction, and friction in spending is your best friend. This is why the appification of budgeting has largely failed. Apps remove friction. They automate, they categorize, they sync automatically. And in doing so, they also remove the one moment of human awareness that actually changes behavior. Kakeibo puts that moment back. But does it actually work? This is a fair question. And the honest answer is, for the right person, significantly. Users who commit to the system for at least 3 months consistently report savings of 25 to 35% of their monthly expenses. Not income, expenses. That means if you're currently spending $2,000 a month, a 3-month committed practice of Kakeibo could reduce that to somewhere between $1,300 and $1,500 without dramatically changing your lifestyle. How? Because the primary mechanism isn't restriction, it's awareness. Most people overspend not because they're irresponsible, but because they genuinely don't know where their money goes. The act of writing every purchase into one of 4 categories over weeks and months creates a picture that no app notification has ever produced. You start to see your own patterns with a clarity that changes decisions automatically, not through willpower, through information. There's a specific moment Kakeibo users describe, usually around week 3, where they start making different decisions before opening their wallet. Not because they're forcing themselves to, but because the awareness has become automatic. That's the real product this system is selling. Not a budget, a different relationship with money. How to start tonight. 3 steps. You don't need a special Kakeibo journal. You don't need to order anything. You need a notebook and a pen. That's it. Step 1. Tonight, open the notebook to a fresh page. Write these 4 things. Your monthly income after tax. The amount you want to save this month and why. Your total fixed expenses. Rent, utilities, subscriptions. And the 4 category headers. Needs, wants, culture, unexpected. That's your monthly setup. It takes 10 minutes. Step 2. For the next 7 days, write down every single purchase. The amount, the category, and 1 word describing how the purchase made you feel. Not a paragraph. 1 word. Necessary. Impulsive. Satisfied. Regretful. That single word feeling column is the part most people skip. It's also the part that changes the most behavior. Step 3. At the end of the week, sit with the notebook for 5 minutes. Don't judge what you see, just look. Ask yourself, does what I spent this week reflect what I said I valued when I set my savings goal? If the answer is no, that's information, not failure. That's where the system does its best work. Give it 3 weeks before you evaluate. The first week is awkward. The second week is revealing. The third week is where it clicks. The real reason this works when everything else hasn't. Every budgeting system you've tried before assumed the problem was a lack of information. If you could just see your spending in a pie chart, broken down by category, color-coded and synced to your bank, you would naturally make better decisions. You've seen the pie chart. You still overspent. Kakeibo is built on a different assumption entirely. The problem isn't information. The problem is disconnection. Modern money moves invisibly. Tap and go, auto-renew, one-click purchase. And invisible money is money you never truly reckon with. The notebook makes money visible, not as a pie chart you glance at once a week, but as a daily practice of sitting with your own decisions, in your own handwriting, and asking, is this who I said I wanted to be? That's not a finance question. That's a much more important question. And a Japanese journalist figured it out in 1904, before the internet, before apps, before personal finance became a $15 billion industry full of tools that still can't answer it. Now, there's something I haven't told you yet about why Japanese culture adopted this so readily when Western cultures haven't. It goes deeper than the method itself. It has to do with a relationship to money that's fundamentally different from how most of the world thinks about spending. And it changes how you'd use this system. That's the next video. If this was useful, the algorithm shows it to people who haven't found it yet when you watch one more. There's a video right here that belongs in this conversation.